You are listening to the Divine Timing Podcast, a weekly spiritual information station where souls check in, spirit speaks up, and energy gets the attention it deserves, all served with love and laughter. Come for the insight, stay for the laughs, and leave just a little brighter. Welcome to the Divine Timing Podcast. I am Dr. D, and this week I have a really big update for a frequency forecast. This week we're going to talk all about solar flares because we have some significant flares happening right now, and they also happen a lot throughout the year. So I really would like you to have a bit more understanding of the impact that they have on us physically and, yes, even spiritually. According to NASA, a coronal mass injection, also called a CME, is essentially a massive wave of plasma and magnetic energy that's released from the sun's corona. When one of these eruptions reaches Earth, it disrupts our planet's magnetic field and creates noticeable shifts in our space weather. So these supercharged particles, they become fully ionized, and they're made of every element, and they don't just affect satellites and electronics. They can also influence our emotional and energetic states as well. Their force is strong enough to push through Earth's magnetic shield, which normally protects us from the solar wind. So that's what I want to focus on a little bit for today. We're going to talk about solar flares. We're going to talk about how that affects us. And then, yes, I do have a Dear D entry for us as well that kind of connects with it. Right now, Earth is being hit with a surge of these highly charged particles. They're powerful enough to interact with both the planet's magnetic field and our personal energetic fields. This intensity can affect every living organism, from the smallest microbe to the most advanced in technology, even as well. So even when Earth's natural protection, the solar wind's energy can still create like ripple effects across our physical, emotional, and energetic environments. Solar storms are known to impact radio signals, GPS systems, technology, and biological life. Research shows that it can alter blood flow, raise adrenaline, influence blood pressure, and disrupt sleep. Studies have also revealed that geomagnetic storms often correlate with spikes in anxiety, depression, fatigue, irritability, and even bipolar episodes. These storms don't just affect the sky. They affect the mind, body, and spirit. And they are happening this week very intensely. And really over the past few weeks, many people have felt the energetic intensity rising, like sudden shifts in emotional waves and physical symptoms like headaches, body aches, flu-like sensations, and ear ringing. These are common to our bodies as they adjust to these incoming frequencies. I can tell you that how it affects me the most is I get a lot of ringing in my ear. I have not been diagnosed with tinnitus, but I don't believe I actually have a disorder with it because it's not frequently. It is tied with the energies. And I've also suffered a lot of abnormal fatigue for me. I have felt this energetic wave come through. Non-physical experiences may also increase, such as vivid dreams, synchronicities, intuitive downloads, and sleep disturbances. Emotionally, these shifts can move us through a wide spectrum of feelings, which is why someone that's diagnosed with bipolar disorder could struggle during these high-intensity energetic geostorms. Some moments bring deep peace, clarity, and motivation, while other moments may bring irritability, anxiety, impatience, exhaustion, or just a sense of being off. These fluctuations remind us that our interconnectedness with the cosmos and the transformative nature of energetic change. When we stay present and aware, we can navigate these waves with more ease and come out stronger and more aligned when you understand them. I did not panic when I had sudden ringing in my ears, nor did I panic when I was feeling just a heavier fatigue, like all the way down to my bones. Everything felt tired when I had not done my usual any sort of physical exertion. I work out every day. I'm a very active person. And yet, yesterday especially, I really, really struggled with physical fatigue. And instead of having that raise my anxiety to feeling like I'm coming down with something, or is there something terribly wrong, I knew, okay, this is just the energy that I'm in right now. Let me listen to my body. What did my body need? My body needed rest. It needed hydration. Water is key through strong solar flares like this. Definitely hydrate. And one of the most common effects of energetic shifts is a temporary sense of disconnection. That's why things can feel off. You may feel out of sync with your environment or the people around you. As you grow spiritually and you prioritize your evolution, you also may begin to see the unhealthy or draining dynamics of certain relationships during these high-intensity moments. People who criticize, manipulate, or drain your energy, they become easier to recognize. So with this type of strong energy, discernment becomes more evident. As you raise in frequency and you release old patterns, some relationships may naturally fall away. And this isn't a loss, it's alignment. You're making space for connections that match your new vibration. These transitions can feel challenging, but they're a natural part of our evolution, or as some call, ascension. And many others are experiencing similar shifts within themselves. Remember, we're all on slightly different frequencies, and we're all on different journeys. So how someone might be shifting could be into a different frequency from you, and that's okay. During this process, you may feel pulled towards old situations or people, not because they're meant to stay, but because your soul is seeking closure or a resolution with that person. At the same time, you may notice a new inner strength emerging, making it easier to release what no longer serves you, such as toxic relationships, outdated habits, limiting beliefs, and old emotional loops. As your frequency rises, you begin attracting relationships that reflect your growth. You're tuning into a higher vibration, so you're going to attract to you people that are tuning into that same vibration. The connections are more supportive, balanced, uplifting, and aligned with your expanded consciousness. These new dynamics help you continue evolving into the highest version of yourself. So you might be thinking, gosh, Dee, these energies or these solar flares only happen for a few days. Well, that's true in their intensity, but the energy is coming in before and then lingers after as well. So this is usually a several weeks type of situation in terms of how we're feeling the energy. And you can't forget the other cosmos, the other planets that are affecting it as well, because as I talked about in our first episode, each planet has its own unique energy signature. Well, you'll be happy to know that Mercury went direct again, which means it's no longer in the illusion of retrograde on March 20th, the same time as the spring equinox. Now, this is huge because the spring equinox, is one of the most powerful energetic gateways of the year. Spiritually, it marks a moment when the earth, the cosmos, and our inner world all shift into a new rhythm. During the equinox, the sun sits directly over the equator, creating equal light and darkness across the planet. So spiritually, this mirrors our own inner balancing of the masculine and feminine, of action and rest, your intuition and logic, your inner world and your outer world. It's a reminder that growth happens when we're aligned, centered, and grounded. Many ancient cultures, from the Egyptians to the Persians, considered the spring equinox the true start of the new year. Why? Because this is when the earth wakes up. Energetically, this season brings new beginnings, fresh ideas, creative inspiration, rebirth of purpose, and clarity after the winter introspection that we go through. It's the universe whispering, okay, love, it's time to grow again. Spiritually, the spring equinox opens a portal for shedding old identities, planting new intentions, calling in abundance, aligning with your soul path, reconnecting with joy and vitality. Just like nature, you're invited to bloom. As the earth's energy rises, so does ours. Most people will feel an increased intuition, vivid dreams, emotional clearing, bursts of motivation, and sudden clarity about what's going to come next. This is your spirit syncing with the seasonal shift. So the spring equinox is the perfect moment to plant, obviously, seeds in the soil, seeds of intention, seeds of healing, and seeds of transformation. Whatever you nurture will grow throughout the remainder of the year. And spiritually, this is a threshold moment. It's a doorway, a cosmic invitation. The spring equinox asks us, what are you ready to release from winter? What are you ready to grow into? What new version of yourself is emerging? It's time to align your energy with your purpose and to step boldly into the next season of life. And I'm not sure how many of you may have noticed, but a lot of what I just described about the spring equinox also coincides with how the solar flares affect us. So it goes to show that the sun is also having a reset of its own because, as I'm always reminding us, everything is connected. We are connected to the universe, each other, and everything through energy. Now, this was a much longer frequency forecast than I typically do, but it's because it's significant. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, with our spring equinox, this is what we are experiencing. So to shift from our frequency forecast, and hopefully that helped put some things into perspective for you, I'd like to go into our Dear D segment. Now, this week's Dear D segment actually pairs very well with what is happening in the cosmos lately. A listener wrote, Dear D, I've been on a spiritual journey for over a year now, and it feels like I'm getting nowhere. What do you suggest? I love this question, and I could likely go on for hours about how every soul's journey is so very different, and you need to trust that you will meet the right teachers when you are meant to in your own divine timing. And when working with clients and they tell me that they feel like they're getting nowhere, I remind them that evolution can feel slow. Spiritual growth does not happen overnight, as we are shedding deep layers and healing takes time. We're not just shedding layers from this lifetime, we're still shedding layers from past lifetimes as well. We can see this in our physical body when a deep cut takes longer to heal than, say, a paper cut, right? Depending on how deep it goes will depend on how long the healing may take. But the key to remember is to not force anything. Forcing something, that's the ego's need for control, rising back up in a sneaky way. Life gets easier when we stop resisting it. The rain will fall, whether we tense up and throw a fit about it or not, and whether or not we flow with it. So you might as well just flow with it because you can't control it. Traffic will move at its own pace, whether we stress about it or breathe through it. People will show you who they are, whether you worry about it or let it go. And I'm going to give you a personal example of that. Last Monday, after releasing my third episode, the whole episode was about our egoic mind and how it has a tendency to control a vast majority of the population. And I created like a 30-second reel for Instagram and TikTok about it, where I was just explaining that, the ego, well, it's sneaky. And if someone is not soul-centered and they're entirely egoically run, then their life is going to be more difficult. They're going to react to life instead of respond to life. And I can't remember the exact language that was in the post, but it was just a short clip that was talking about a majority of people being egoically minded and reacting instead of being soul-centered and responding, which makes life easier when you can sit back and respond through your soul instead of your ego. And let me tell you, I got some really horrible comments on that. I forgot to change the settings. I typically I have the settings set that you can only comment if you're a follower. And I do that intentionally because I have no space for people that aren't aligned with my program, right? What do I say all the time? If it resonates with you, then it's for you. If it doesn't, then leave it. It's that simple. And so I don't need, the internet is a very, very cruel place filled with all kinds of keyboard warriors and trolls, quite frankly. So I just don't have, I don't have the energy for that. I'm not going to deal with that. Well, I had forgot to set that setting. And so there were several horrible, horrible comments on that. And what's interesting is that every one of those comments were so egoically run, and it was so obvious. I mean, one person in all caps wrote, "This lady is talking nonsense." Well, I imagine if you are entirely egoically run, then this does feel like nonsense. You wouldn't understand coming at life from a soul-centered place, would you? So what all those comments actually did, and the other one was hilarious because the person was like, "This lady doesn't know what she's talking about. It's easier to what was it? It's easier to talk about it than to do the deep healing work yourself." Now, see, anyone who's done deep healing work isn't going to post a nasty comment, right? A comment that is meant to evoke emotion and make someone feel bad, right? What they didn't realize they were doing was they were completely driving home my point. My whole point of the lesson and my whole point of the reel. They were actually just showing it in real time what an egoically run person does. Now, could that have derailed me? Could that have upset me to the point where I no longer wanted to do this show? Absolutely. But I understand that they're on their own journey. That's for them to say, and this stuff isn't going to resonate with them, is it? Because they're not there. They are not in doing those deep healing work, right? So I can't control that, and it's not for me to. So I have to let it go. True peace begins the moment that you shift your focus to what is within your control and release everything that isn't. And for your spiritual journey, as this writer is asking, what you are in control of is how much conscious awareness that you put in to staying grounded in your own energy, clearing away what's not serving you, controlling only you and letting go of what you can't. This enables you to clear your chakras and keep an open channel. When you are consciously open, you can receive signs, synchronicities, and messages from your intuition with much more ease and grace. This is what it means to go with the flow of life instead of resisting it, trying to control it all the time. Once you set your intention, that intention to be more consciously aware of grounding yourself and releasing what's not serving you and protecting your energetic space, you're going to notice your frequency rising. And you're going to notice that it's allowing for spirit to communicate with you with more ease. Now, a lot of people ask me, why does spirit have to communicate through signs and synchronicities? Why can't I just hear a voice in my head telling me what to do? Well, first of all, when people hear other voices in their head, that is typically diagnosed as a schizophrenia diagnosis, but also it can be jarring. It can be terrifying. And when we're in states of fear, which is another egoic trait, we shut down. When we're in states of fear, we can't let anything else in, right? It closes our channels. So the other way to explain it, or another way that I explain it to clients, I should say, is spirit operates at such a higher frequency. If you think about it, us here in the 3D, we are physical beings. It's heavy. It is dense here, right? Energy is slower here. Well, for spirit, it's all energy. It's such high frequency. To give you an analogy, think about this. When you look at a regular fan, whether it's a box fan or a ceiling fan, doesn't matter. When you look at a fan, when there is no energy running to it, when there's no electricity running to it, you can see each of the individual physical blades, right? But the second that you plug it in and you turn it on and you run energy through it and you change the frequency of the vibration that fan is operating on, when you look at that, when you look for the individual blades, you can't see them because they're vibrating on such a high frequency that it's moving too fast. That's spirit. Spirit is on an entirely different frequency. So that is why it's difficult for us to see or hear and communicate. So signs and synchronicities are the easiest way for communication, two-way communication. And I think you guys are going to get a kick out of this. When I thought about what this week's unclaimed message should be, I was sitting in meditation, as I always am. That's how I get the unclaimed messages for the week. And I saw my oracle cards. Now, I love oracle cards. I suggest if you have never studied or tried any, they're different than tarot cards. Oracle cards are much more open to interpretation. I have these lovely woodland wardens that I use. It's just my favorite deck. And when I was meditating, I saw a lot of my oracle cards and I thought, you know what? I think that Spirit's telling me pull an oracle card for this week. And this divination tool, it's one of my favorite to use. I often will do it just to give me a heads up on how the day is going to go, and never once has it been wrong. I love to use oracle cards to communicate with Spirit. And I think you're going to love the synchronicity that I got for this episode, because I set my intentions on the card as I was shuffling to what is the message that the listeners need to hear, that for anybody and anyone, no matter when they listen to this, what is the message that's going to resonate? And I pulled the Metamorphosis card. However, it was in reverse, meaning that I pulled it upside down. So that has a special message, a different message than when you pull it right side up. So according to the guidebook, this is the message that was wrote for the upside down Metamorphosis card. You cannot control everything in your life. Change is a part of nature, and it must be allowed to take its course. Remember that great beauty can result from metamorphosis. Now, isn't that divine based on what we talked about today, based on energetically what is going on with the spring equinox for us in the Northern Hemisphere, and for all of the solar flares that are affecting everyone? It was such a beautiful synchronicity. And this is what synchronicities look like, y'all. This is what they feel like, and they happen every day in your life if you just open up to receive them. So I really encourage you to do that. And remember, if you have a question that you'd like answered on the show, please feel free to email me at divine, DEEVINE, timing 11@gmail.com, and I will certainly answer it for you on the show. Thanks for listening, and remember that you are walking in your purpose and you're shining in the light. So keep the light on.
I see the stars aligning in the velvet of the night, a map of ancient wisdom written in the silver light. Mercury is moving, but your heart is staying still. You're standing at the threshold of a higher kind of will. The cycle's turning slowly like a wheel within the sky. There is no need to panic or to ask the reason why. Just breathe into the present, let the heavy shadows fall. You're exactly where you're needed, answering the sacred call. Trust the timing of your life and let your spirit lead the way. The universe is speaking in the quiet of the day. Release the fear and find your ground. The soul is taking flight. like a promise born the moment you arrive. A blueprint for the magic that is helping you survive. Saturn brings the lessons, but the sun brings out the gold. A story of a destiny that's waiting to unfold. So plant your feet in red clay, let the ancestors speak low. There is a rhythm to the harvest and a time for things to grow. Don't rush the transition or the shedding of the skin. The greatest transformation always starts from deep within. Trust the timing of your life and let your spirit lead the way. The universe is speaking in the quiet of the day. Release the fear and find your ground. The soul is taking flight. You're walking in your purpose and you're shining in the light. It's written in the houses and it's pulsing in your veins. Break away the gravity and lose the mental chains. From the moonbeams to the mountains, every atom has a part. You carry all the cosmos in the chambers of your heart. Trust the timing of your life and let your spirit lead the way. The universe is speaking in the quiet of the day. Release the fear and find your ground. The soul is taking flight. You're walking in your purpose and you're shining in the light.